Hey, how you doing, Matt? Hello? Oh, there you go. I think I
All
can hear
right.
you now.
All right. Now you can hear me. All right.
Hi,
Perfect.
Matt. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. And my name's Giovanni, and this is my cousin Nick.
Hey Matt.
Giovanni and Nick. Good to meet you guys.
Yeah. What are you doing? You doing? What you got going on today? I saw you put on a run on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Today's a day off, and just chilling. Went for a walk. Went for a run early on. Did a bike ride on Peloton.
Oh, sweet.
What else?
How long have you
Yeah.
had
You
this?
know, a couple months.
Oh, you find it
Yeah.
like good, like cross training to do?
Dude, it is the best cross training. It kicks my butt. So you know how when you want to do speed training, when you're running, it just wears you down.
Yeah.
And if you do too much, you get injured so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, the Peloton allows me to get that heart rate just blasting that heart rate high end without any impact. So
That's good. It helps
yeah,
your joints. Do you like?
yeah.
So have you done like a lot of biking before that? Or,
Well, I kind of started my whole fitness thing in triathlon.
oh,
I thought triathlon was, the way to go. And so I did biking for years.
oh, sweet. Oh,
And then gradually just moved into just running because that's kind of that's what I enjoy
yeah.
the most.
It's the passion.
Yeah,
That's what got you to the
yeah,
show in the first place, right?
yeah, exactly.
So we just before we got started or anything, Nick, are we recording it?
Yeah, I'll start it right now.
Okay, cool. I just
Hey, what's up, man?
we just started like this podcast not too long ago. It was during COVID and everything. We were just trying to figure out, a hobby just to kind of keep us sane a little bit. So we
Yeah,
started this, and we like to
yep,
get tips from other runners and other ultra runners and different people that
yeah,
do different fitness challenges. So,
yeah. I get it. You guys have been coming up in the whole running
oh,
thing. I've been listening to a couple of your podcasts,
thanks.
and I guess
Yeah.
what Skydive Ultra was the first one, the
Yeah,
50K.
we did that with Eric
Uh,
Freeman's race. Yeah,
yeah, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
it's fun. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
are you would you indulge in the skydiving?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Okay.
I went out to the skydive ultra, it would. You better believe I'd be doing the skydive first.
Some people like they're not really they like to go out for the ultra, but they end up not paying for the skydiving. I'm like, well, then why do that one?
Yeah.
I mean, each their own, but
Well, I kind of get it. It's a great course. It's like a 7 mile loop. The support is fantastic. Eric puts on a lot of good races, so people know what they're getting.
yeah, yeah.
And the buckle you get if you do like the 100 miler or up is pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah. So I know you do like more, well, just to get a background on before we go into ultras. Before we get into ultras, I wanted to talk about like your background into running, like how you got started, what was the inspiration for it? Did you ever do
Yeah.
other athletics in your childhood?
No, not really. I wasn't really athletic other than playing team sports. So I grew up in the UK and we're or soccer, rugby, but nothing outside of like organized school events. You know what I mean? As I got a little older, let's see, in my late teens, I did a lot of mountain biking.
Okay.
So that drive for fitness and activity was always there, but nothing really organized. And I did go out for a couple runs. My dad was a runner, so
In the gym.
that influence. And I go out once in a while, but if your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it. And I didn't really get into it until my late 20s. So when was that? I don't know, 2005, 2006, maybe.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
42.
You look damn good for 42.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
yeah,
what.
you
Ah.
look really young.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's got a good moisturizing routine. Yeah. It's skincare.
I got to get on whatever routine you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And staying out of the sun as much as possible. I didn't always, but for the last couple of years, I've been trying to stay out of the sun, and it's not easy. You guys know we live in Florida, so it's sunny a lot of the time.
Especially when you're running.
Yeah, yeah. I try and I try and get out before the sun most days.
Yeah. So you grew up in the UK. When did you end up coming here to the States?
Let's see. I was about 21, and I was just traveling. I didn't intend to, but I was just traveling around, actually on my way back home, and I was in Hawaii surfing for a little while, and then I wanted to try snowboarding, so I moved to Colorado. Yeah, and then I was in Colorado for a couple of years, and then just kind of I had some friends in Florida, and I thought I'd come here, and the rest is history. I didn't plan on staying, but that was, I don't know, 19, 18 years ago, long time.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
and not a lot of people, I think, in Florida. Well, I mean, it's a big community now, I think, in Florida for like runners and ultra runners and stuff like that. But I know that I think like running Mecca is like Oregon, right? I mean, like where a lot of runners come.
Well, yeah. Well, the Nike Oregon project is up there. Steve Prefontaine was from Oregon. You've got Boulder, obviously Colorado. That's huge. Running. Flagstaff. So it's the climates that are good for running, and our climate is not ideal to reach your peak performance. At least for 80% of the year. We get into wintertime, it changes for us.
You got the heat to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, the heat's tricky. It's poor man's altitude, right?
Yeah.
but it works. The heat training really works. It's not pleasant when you're doing it, but your body adapts, and when it cools down, I mean, I don't know how long. I actually don't know how long you guys have been running for, but when it gets cold, you guys are gonna fly. Times just go through the roof. It's really exciting. But even if you don't put in that speed work, the effort is so much lower when it's ideal running temperatures in the 50s. And if you get up in North Florida, Nick, I remember you did a race up in North Florida.
Yeah, in actually it was in Georgia. It was in I forgot what the park was, but they call it the mini Grand Canyon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it can get really cold up there.
The trail up there, what was that? That thing was like hills and bumpy terrain and stuff. It was pretty crazy. I mean, completely different than skydive, right?
Oh yeah, definitely the hills, and I fell maybe like 6-7 times throughout the whole race.
That's great. Listen, if you're not falling, you're not really trying. I have fallen in so many races. I've fallen more times than I can count. Yeah, you get tired towards the end, and your foot catches a root or up a rock, or luckily no injuries. So no big injuries so far. A little bit of blood here and there, but that's part of it's a battle with.
Yeah, it builds character.
That's right.
I know you recently, and we have a mutual friend that got us actually involved.
Ryan.
Yeah.
I tell you, he is one to watch. That guy is going to go far in ultra running.
Oh wow.
He has the right mindset, and I've run with him twice now. I don't know if you know. Well, I know because I listened to the podcast. But we ran a 50K down here in Sarasota, or for you guys up in Sarasota. We ran a 50K as a warm up. We both chose it. That's where we met, and then we did the 50 miler at Everglades Ultra.
That one looked cool.
And yeah, that's a good race. I recommend that. Bob Becker puts on a great event.
Wow.
Yeah. And plenty of support.
He's the same guy, right? Bob Decker's Keys 100 too, right? He does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's the most extreme, one of the most respected ultra runners out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's done Badwater back to back, like run Badwater and then get to the top and turn around and run back. So, I mean, that's
insane.
The guy can put it down. And he's like 70 years old, 73 years old.
And still putting in the work. That's what I love. I want to be there one day. That's
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Ryan, he's a good runner, and he's at the beginning of his journey. So, much like you guys, it's so fun to see the progression, because as runners, we tend to, our times improve for about 10 years. I think that's what they say, or what I've heard. So when you start putting in the work, your times will gradually get better over the next 10 years. And it's pretty good because even if you start later in life, your times still improve. So, you know, if you start when you're 30, by the time you're 40, you're going to be peaking.
Yeah. That's a big parallel to life. The more work you put into it, I mean, the more work you put into anything, the better you're going to get at it. So it's just, you know,
yeah, man, exactly.
Making those little idiosyncrasy steps, you know.
Yeah.
So what was your progression like into running marathons?
Well, so I started out doing sprint triathlons, and the sprint triathlon, basically it's a very short swim, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 miles on the bike, and then a 5K run. Then I went up to Olympic distance, which is a 10K run, and everything's just a bit longer. I've done a couple of half Ironman triathlons,
Cool.
which is, it's like a 1.2 mile swim, 56 miles on the bike, and then a half marathon. So I actually met my wife at my first half marathon.
Oh, wow.
And this is where my journey kind of moves forward, because she was a fantastic runner, kicking my butt in every distance. So yeah, we met at my first half marathon. Of course, she beat me by 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. But she was a big marathoner. So I met her, we started going out, and I started seeing the work that she was putting in and the times that she was getting back. And I was like, there's something in this. And at the time I was like, you run too much, you know? She's like, but let's see. You know what? We met at my first half marathon. I asked her out I think she came second at the Sarasota Marathon, and she ran 3 flat.
Wow.
So yeah, so she was, you know, blazing fast. I don't know if I appreciated how fast that was back then.
For people that aren't runners, they don't get that. Like 3 hours, okay, they think any runner could do that, but that's work put in.
That's moving. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've run a couple of 3-hour marathons, and it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of work from the beginning.
Yeah. You can't let up. You got to keep your gas. I mean, obviously there's recovery involved and stuff like that, but you got to keep your foot on the gas training wise.
Yeah, and for me, like that 3-hour limit always it was about the fastest that I could run, and I run a couple of 251, 252 marathons a year, you know, years ago, but that 3-hour marathon is like, I've always been hovering around it, so I can't go too much faster than that. I think, and now I've kind of passed my prime, so you know, those days are gone. But I did run a 3-hour marathon this year, so I was happy with that.
What was that, for the New York City?
No, New York City was canceled this year. It was the St. Petersburg Marathon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, up in St. Pete, which is just north of me, you know.
When was
west
that?
of February.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
cool.
that was in February. That was yeah, that was a good race. We had good weather for that race. And I got a video. I don't know if you guys know, I have a running YouTube channel, so I took the GoPro with me on that race. So that was a fun one to film. Got tough towards the end though, trying to like hold the camera and speak to the camera, and you need to focus on the running when you're racing.
Yeah.
And if you're racing at, you know, 95% of your ability, you're right up there redlining. It's very hard to like pull up the camera and be like, okay, you know, I've caught the pace bike and now I'm trying to keep up with him. And
even communicate with the camera. You're not worried about that. You're not even worried about communicating with other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was really no one around on that race. That was like an out and back on the Pinellas Trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it was a fun of. Sorry, go ahead.
What made you want to start your YouTube channel?
Well, you know, it's very similar to you guys, I think, in that it got to COVID and you guys wanted to do something else, like start a new hobby. Well, I started at the beginning of 2019. So, you know, I'm a year and 8 months into it now. But it was the same thing. I kind of felt like I wanted a hobby other than running. Mm-hmm. And I like running. I like talking about running. And it just seemed like a natural thing. And I guess ultimately it's just a way to kind of build something, to tap into an artistic side, because I enjoy the filming. I enjoy the editing. The feedback with the community is fantastic. Like that's when you put out a video and then you start a conversation, and I've actually made some really good friends through my YouTube channel. So it's been really good. But you know, ultimately why I started it was just to have something to do. You know, I wanted to tap into that, you know, to kind of build something.
And then share your enthusiasm about the sport that you're involved in.
Yeah. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that do it. I think there's room for everyone. Everyone's got like a slightly different take on it. So yeah, it's just fun. I try not to get too caught up in the numbers, but it goes like this, because you know, you start looking at the numbers and then you get carried away. And there's been times over the last year that I'm like pulling out my phone to check every minute. Did I get another comment? Did I get another subscriber? But I've kind of got past that now, so I'm in a more healthy place for the channel.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I liked your slogan. It was be kind, be happy, run well.
Yeah.
I like that. It's very enthusiastic and very, I don't know, like a very nice non-competitive aspect to the sport. Like, because everybody thinks everybody's like running, trying to beat everybody else's time, when really you should be just focused on beating your own time or trying to be, you know, the better version of you. Which
that's how I think. And racing is fun. Without racing, I think it's very difficult to reach our potential, because you need that drive, that competition to kind of push you forward. But if I never raced again, I'd be okay, because I like going out for my runs. And sometimes, you know, most of the time I run just nice and easy and chill. I'll pick it up once in a while. But you know, I'm looking forward to races coming back when
everything starts.
Things get a little safer again. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, I know you recently got COVID. You had one of your videos about it. What was, are you back to normal pretty much?
Yeah, I'd say I'm 100% back to normal now. It's been about a month since, maybe a little more, 5 weeks since I actually got it. At 2 weeks, I was still feeling rough. Now, I tested negative after 2 weeks, but I was still feeling pretty rough. I'd say for about a month. I wasn't quite right. There was just something there. You know, like you'd go out for a run and everything was just a little harder. And it was funny because things seemed a lot harder, but let's say I'd be running considerably slower than my normal easy pace, but it would feel harder. But my heart rate wasn't reflecting that. My heart rate was actually reflecting the pace. So my body wasn't being physically pushed, but there was something inside me that was just like, this is so hard.
Or do you think it was more like you playing mental games with yourself, or did it or there was something that the virus had done respiratory wise that kind of affected you?
Perhaps, I don't know. I don't think it was all mental. I mean, it certainly could have been. I mean, you guys know, running such a big mental game.
Yeah.
And it makes and breaks you. It makes or break you if your game isn't on. Yeah. So yeah, it could certainly be some of that, but it felt physical, you know. And I still knocked it out. There was nothing that held me back from not doing what I wanted to do. Yeah. But yeah, I'm over it now. I had a nice run this morning, and everything was pretty good. So yeah, it was rough though for a couple of weeks.
Good to hear. Good to hear that you're back and ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do you have a preference? I know that you've ran obviously the Everglades and you've done ultras in the past before, and you've obviously done on your YouTube channel, you've shown that you've done the Boston, New York City marathons. Do you have a preference between marathon versus ultra, long distance versus your marathons?
Yeah, I'd say the marathon is my favorite distance. But it's difficult to ask, because you ask what my favorite is, it's depending on what mood I'm in. I like the marathon to race, the road marathon to race, because it takes you to another level. Like, you run a 5K, you run a 10K, it's incredibly painful, and you are just putting in such a high effort, but you can train up to that without too much trouble. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to run so many miles, and when you're done, ultimately you've only been running, at a 10K, you've been running between, 30 and 50 minutes maybe for everyone. So the recovery isn't there. The marathon, it's such a mental game to push past when things get bad. And like the feeling goes like this. It's very much up and down, and you're feeling good, and then you're in a low spot, and pushing through that low spot that's part of what I enjoy about it. But it's also what I enjoy about ultras. So, but ultras are a much lower key thing, and that's what I enjoy about that. Ultras, I think I found it's more mental than physical. Now, listen, if you're not a runner out there, you're going to think, Matt, you're crazy. How can you run a 50K, a 50 mile, and it's not physical? Well, obviously it's physical. You have to put in the work, but it's so much more than that, because your mind will tell you, oh, you're tired, you can't go on. But just give it a minute, and you can push through that. And that's what makes great ultra runners, is a strong mental game.
Those peaks and valleys, those highs and lows that you were talking about. Those are important. That to know that you stick long enough, you'll come out the other side where it's going to feel good again.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys went through it. During that 50K. I mean, 50K. What was your time? How many hours were you out there for?
We did the 50 mile.
50 miler. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, we had a decent time, for our first one, I think. But it was 11:55, and the cutoff was, I think, 14. I mean, by no means.
Yeah, you guys crushed it.
Yeah, we had fun. By no means we're seasoned marathon runners. Like we're not good at. Especially me. I'm not good at speed, which I need to start working on. But I can. That's what I enjoy about ultras a little bit more, is that I can push past those highs and lows, and it builds your resiliency to anything.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I found that you take that into other areas of your life.
Yes.
That mental strength that you build through running is just, I mean, I've used it in so many areas of my life. I didn't go to college until I was an adult. So I was a runner before I went to college. So I graduated with my master's, I don't know, 4 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
But I went through, and working full time and running and doing all my schoolwork, just running helped me focus on that. When things got tough, it was like, you know what, just do it. Just buckle down. It's going to be over.
Yes.
You can't stop now. If you just keep moving, it's going to be over sooner.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you kind of use these little mental tricks.
What did you end up getting your master's in?
My master's was criminal justice administration, and my undergrad was psychology.
Oh, cool. What do you do for a living now?
I'm in law enforcement.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, cool. Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a job.
It's a job. I like that. Yeah. I have a police officer and a family member that was in the military too. A lot of law enforcement in my family, but
nice.
Goes out to you guys. Yeah.
Ah, nice. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it is a good job. I do enjoy it.
Well, I know that your daughter ended up winning the Everglades. 50, right? How was that?
Yeah,
you must be pretty proud for her there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And she took the lead at. Did you guys see the video towards the end? Yeah, because it was I tell you what, she took the lead at like mile 20, 21, maybe. So we still had a 50K to go of holding on to that lead.
Enough time to creep up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's hours out there for someone to just we spend 5 minutes too long in the aid station. That person's creeping up on us, So it was we didn't see anyone coming up behind us. And then I tell you what, it must have been a quarter mile to the finish, and another female crept up behind us. And it was someone that I didn't see the whole race. I didn't see her at the beginning, didn't see her at the aid stations.
Wow.
So she was working well, and she's a fantastic ultra runner. The woman that came in second place is a fantastic ultra runner. But yeah, Michelle, my daughter, was able to kick it in, and she dropped it down to 5K speed at the end. And my plan was to run ahead of her, finish, and film her coming across the line. But when we dropped the hammer, I couldn't run any faster. I could barely keep up with her at the end. It's tough to get your legs moving that quickly after you've been churning out slow miles and, for so long.
Was that her first ultra?
That was her first 50-mile distance. First trail ultra. So she also ran the New York City Road Runners 60K in Central Park.
Oh, wow.
A couple years ago. And that's like Loops of Central Park. They do it every year. It's a big New York Roadrunner race. But this was different on the trails for her. So, but she didn't fall. I fell several times still, but she managed to stay upright.
So what was your favorite race?
Like favorite race ever? Okay. So I've got a couple favorite races. I'd say the New York City Marathon, it's so much fun. There's so many people there, and the essence of running is just in the air. It's an iconic race. 50,000 people running with you through the streets of the greatest city in the world.
That's gotta be pretty
so
cool. Oh.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to run to love the New York City Marathon. You can make it through it and still enjoy it. But I've said for many years, my favorite race it's a trail marathon that happens every year. It's at the Alafaya State Park, which is just east of Tampa up here. So it's about an hour from me, and that's every November. And that's just a super low-key run. It's a marathon distance, so you're out there for a long time. You're running on the trails the whole time. It's a nice, fun, low-key event. And you guys know, you've run ultras. The atmosphere at ultra marathons are different from road races.
Yeah.
Everybody's friendly, everybody's laid back. No one really cares. It's just like, yeah, we're out here doing it. And it's a big difference in ultra running than regular road running. Nobody's out to,
beat anybody.
Cut your throat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would assume from like the New York City or marathons, that like it would be more competitive, I would think, with certain people.
Yeah.
More cutthroat. But
yeah, and I'm sure it is. I mean, at the front, I ran the New York City with my daughter too, so we weren't at the front of the pack. But it was still just the greatest experience. And Boston, Boston it's good. I don't want to talk bad about Boston. It's just a great race for running. Like it's got like an image. So when you get there, you're like, wow, I'm a Boston. And it's a lot of fun because of that. And there's a lot of good runners. And it's the type of race where, like I've run sub 3 at Boston a couple times, which around here is a pretty good time. Like I'm not running with people. Like it's like take Miami Marathon, for instance. So if I'm running a 3-hour marathon at Miami, like the second half, I'm alone. You run down to Coral Gables and then you come back into town and you're alone. No matter how fast you run at Boston, you're running with someone, like, because you're seated. So everyone around you has qualified at the exact same pace as you within a few minutes. So you're just running with people the whole time. So it's really good to see some incredible talent.
That's got to be a really good community to get behind too. And the running community in general is just a very friendly community. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it really is. You don't find too many people. You don't find too many people at races that have a negative spin on things. It's everyone's really nice.
Even if they're going out there to beat everybody else, it's very enthusiastic, and people will try to lift each other up and help each other out.
Yeah, because once you've been doing it, if you're out there beating everyone, you've been in the game a little bit. You know that everyone's putting in the work it takes to do their best.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what your best is. That's the beauty of it, because ultimately we're only competing against ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
There's always going to be someone faster, but by the same way, there's always going to be someone slower.
Yeah. And I'm sure you and everybody else out there have been the slow guy at one point in time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, you know what it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you're running a race, no matter how good you do, you only did that well because someone else didn't show up that day. Yeah. So it's important to stay humble and know that you're not the man. You're just doing this sport. It's fun. Enjoy it.
I like that look on it. But what else?
So what do you guys have planned coming up, like races?
Well, he had just after we talked to Ryan, he planted the seed in Nicholas's idea about doing 100K. Like he did 100K around UCF. Nicholas is at FSU right now, and he's planning on doing 100K around FSU. Is the idea.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I thought that would be like a good way right before graduation just to end it, you know?
Oh, that's pretty impressive. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is going to build some mental toughness.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're so close to home and you're doing the same, I imagine you'll do the same loop, just loop it around.
Yeah.
That's going to make you a strong runner mentally.
Yeah, and up here in Tallahassee, it's not all flat road, so there's going to be still like a little bit of elevation too.
Yeah, I've been to Tallahassee. There's a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
Like you have to choose your route carefully.
Yeah. Seems like it's going to be, that would be our new PR, would be the 62 miles, but
yeah,
it seems like it's pretty exciting. I think that's the next big one for us.
Yeah, 100K is a good distance.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Every distance is a good distance. The 100K, because it's 100, like the word 100, it just has something magical about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still doable. You guys have run 50 miles. You can run 12 more miles. Let me tell you, even if you walk it out, you know, you can definitely do it. It's in the wheelhouse of doable. You know, when you jump up to the 100-mile, it's a little harder to wrap your mind around. But I'm telling you, you guys can do it. I've done a 100-mile race, and I've said anyone can do it.
What was your first 100-mile? Where did you end up doing that one?
I did the Dunes 100.
Where is
So
that?
that's
Is that in Jupiter?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is it just north of Palm Beach, or yeah? I think the actual city is Jupiter. It's at the Jonathan Dickerson State Park.
Oh, that's not too far from here. That would be a perfect one. Oh,
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, nice trails. It's put on by Down to Run. Andre and Ludi put it on, and they run a tight race. Like the aid stations were great. The support was great. It's a challenging course. There's a lot of sugar sand. So there's the dunes of heaven and the dunes of hell, and it's just deep sugar sand for miles. And let's see, it's 4 out and backs.
Mm-hmm.
So 25 miles each time. You kind of run out and then back and then out and back. But it was a good experience. Kicked my butt, but it was a good time.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, how did so that was a 100-mile, correct?
Yeah.
So how did you go from, you know, like running marathons to jump up to a 100-miler and push through it? Because I'm assuming, how long did it take you to finish the 100-miler?
21 and a half,
Close to
maybe.
that full day experience where
So you had to run through the night. How did you train for a race like that?
You know, I didn't have any trouble with tiredness.
Okay.
There was nothing like that. Of course, saying that, I was absolutely exhausted. Like fatigue wise, it was pretty tough, especially that last coming back. So at mile 87 and a half, thinking that I still had 12 miles to go, and you know, maybe 3 hours, because at this point there's a lot of walking going on. I walked every incline and then ran the decline. So yeah, there was a lot of walking going on, and I went out there without any support, because I knew the support of the race was good enough. But I met up with some fantastic ultra runners, and I actually met up with a guy who had paces. So we met up after the first loop, so about a marathon distance, and then we stayed together for the next 75 miles. And so he had paces helping him. So I tell you, that made the entire race, having someone, because when he was down, like I was still wanting to move forward, and then I'd get down and I'd use them, and having the paces just to look at their watch and being like, all right, let's just try and run for 30 seconds. You're like, okay, 30 seconds, I can do it. Okay, now let's walk again. Let's just keep moving forward. It made a big difference. That support is what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, there's something about having that community or running with someone. You know, you can almost kind of like absorb their energy when you're down.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough for those guys that just, you know, they go through the night and they're alone the whole time, and it's got to be really tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good experience, and I got a belt buckle, and it was a lot of fun.
We're still waiting for ours. Well, hopefully we'll get there one day, but I can't wait for that belt buckle.
Yeah, you'll definitely get it. Hey, I did. I got a belt buckle for 100K at the Iron Horse 100K.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, that's in Florhome, which is where is that? So it's like east of, oh no, it's west of Daytona, inland a bit,
okay.
at a
Yeah.
park.
I have to look at that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
and that was a well supported race too.
Very good. Very good.
But they actually gave a belt buckle. You know, yeah, you ask some people, they're going to say a belt buckle isn't earned unless it's 100 miles. But
The
still,
trophy
it was
is really in your head, I think. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
but it's the memories. It's the memories that last, because I've got no idea where the belt buckles are now. You know, it was fun for a little bit. If you scroll through my Instagram, you'll see me wearing the belt buckle. My wife and I went to an opera, and I'm wearing a suit, and I had the belt buckle on with it right after my race.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was fun. But now I don't even know where it is. You know, I don't really keep track of that. The medals don't mean much. Most go to Goodwill.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
They're just tokens of that race. They have memories of that race behind them.
Yeah. And, you know, if once you've been running for a couple of years, you start collecting all this junk, and you know, you can't keep it all. I've kept a lot of medals. Like I've kept all my Bostons, Chicago, New York, the bigger ones, the ones that have made an impact. But yeah, there's a lot of smaller races where, you know, it's nice for a little bit, and then someone else can enjoy it.
So I have a quick question about. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So you're pretty busy. You have a YouTube channel, family, full-time job. What's your routine like to be able to fit all that stuff in?
All right. So my routine, actually, it's only me and my wife at home. My daughters, they're old enough, they live on their own, so we don't have kids. It's just us. But recently I've kind of got a new routine. So I work 12-hour shifts, and it's at night. So when I come home, I've been running when I get home. So I've been running I either work from 3 in the afternoon till 3 in the morning, or from 6 in the afternoon till 6 in the morning. And I found that it's pretty miserable running after working a 12-hour shift, but nothing beats the misery of running in broad daylight in the sun in the summer. Like, nothing at all. So when I'm tired, I have to tell myself, it'll always be worse. And if you go to bed now, it will be worse. So yeah, I've been running daily for about 4 months. Well, since COVID started, I've been running every day. Yeah, that's it. Eat, sleep, run, repeat.
Do you take days off, or like do you take like recovery days, or how do you usually do that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been running every day for about 4 months, and the way I've been able to continue doing that is because I'm not training for any races. I'm running very easy all the time. So really my runs are just checking in mentally. You know, I actually enjoy going out there and just churning out the miles. So I don't want to say I don't need recovery in that way, but I'm not putting in the effort that my body needs extra recovery.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm running very easy. When I come home, I'll eat something. I'll get on the bike and go for a spin.
What's an easy
throw in some
run for
weights.
you like?
Well, I've been maintaining 70 miles a week for, probably about 4 months.
That's still a lot.
And it is, but I've built up to that over the years.
Yeah.
And what I've also found, and this only comes from experience, is that like my orthopedic threshold it's just above that. So I found that I can run about 75 or 80 miles a week consistently without getting injured. And of course, the mileage comes down if my effort goes up. But if I can run 70 miles at an easy effort, and I don't have to worry about injury. And I've had a lot of injuries. I broke my hip 3 times.
Wow.
I broke my hip at mile 25 of the Boston Marathon. Like I felt it, boom, click, and hobbled the next 1.2 miles to the finish.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that was tough. And then I was out, obviously, for months after that.
So you broke your hip and still finish the race.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
impressive.
Yeah.
it's not. It's absolutely stupid. Do not be impressed by that. If it happens to you, I want you to stop. But when you're in the thick of it, it's like, I can walk it out, still get a finish. I'm very close to I was at the Sitgo sign, the famous Sitgo sign in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So, we're coming into, Boston proper. And I was like, I can walk it out. And I was actually on target for a course record for me that day. And then, the hip. But it all comes down to training practices. I probably wasn't training the healthiest, maybe putting in too much mileage, maybe too much speed work for me, because everyone's different.
Yes.
But, fingers crossed, I haven't had an injury in a while.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. It seems like you found like a pretty good balance between how much you're supposed to be running, your social life, your YouTube channel. You've kind of put everything into perspective and was able to even it out.
Yeah, and you guys know, you guys are students. You guys are working hard, in school, and you have a much more active social life than I do right now. So there is a lot of balancing going on for you guys too, to put in the miles. But we do what if something's important to you, you'll find the time for it.
Yeah.
So my wife and I both have that. She runs, she bikes, she's huge into fitness. She's probably the fittest person I know. So it's important to us. We know our day will be better if we get our workouts in. We'll feel better. We'll be able to give more time to each other. So it's just doing what's important.
Your proper therapy you need that mental release. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you might not feel that way until you miss it. You miss a run, and then you're like, something's not right.
Do you follow a certain diet or something?
I follow a plant-based diet.
Oh, okay.
And I've been.
Frozen on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think we lost him for a second. We'll wait for him to come back.
And
Uh-oh.
All right, how's that?
There you go. Perfect. Okay. We lost you for a second.
Yeah. All right. So where else? Vegan diet. Okay. So it's a luxury for me to be able to have a vegan diet, because obviously there's a lot of low income people that they can only buy certain foods. So it's, I recognize that I'm very lucky to be able to follow a vegan diet, and I find it works best for me. I like the ethical implications, the environmental implications. So and it's worked out well for me as far as fueling goes.
Is the ethical implications, is that mainly why you got in, or was it more of like a health base?
Yeah, I think I got started because of the health attributes. Like you see people like Scott Jurek back in the day when he was running and winning all these huge races, and he's following a vegan diet, and it just, now it's kind of trendy. People see that and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be, I want to support the environment and be ethical and only eat plants and still run 100 miles. Now there's like 100 people on YouTube that do that.
Which is still fine, but
yeah, it's totally. I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, nothing bad happens from a vegan diet.
I like that. I mean, I feel as if with like diet wise, it's all personalized. I feel like it's whatever works for you, and you should try different ones until you realize which one works best for you. I
totally agree. Everyone is on their own journey, and some things are going to work better for some people and not for others.
Yes.
It's totally personal, and I don't look down on any one diet. This has just worked out well for me, and it gives me what I need with my running.
Just like everybody's not a runner, and just like everybody doesn't like to play football or soccer. I mean, it's preference.
Everyone's on their own journey, right? We just want to just be nice to everyone, and be as nice as you can be. Make friends along the way.
Be kind, be happy, and run well if that's your thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I like
Well,
that.
yeah, it's always be kind and be happy, and then just add whatever activity you want in the end.
You need that outlet. You need whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if you're not into running, I feel like you can get a lot out of it because it's a very self-reflective sport, I'm sure. I mean, you know, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's days that, you know, you just go out and you lose yourself in the run. Yeah, I've got a video coming out next week, maybe, for beginner runners. And it talks about dissociation and association, and how when you're listening to music or your mind gets lost in certain things, that's dissociation. So you're taking your mind off the activity, and it can make, you know, in an ultra marathon, that's pretty important, because sometimes you just want to black out and just run and just want to get rid of these miles, you know, just keep churning them up. I'm going to think about what I'm going to eat after. But, you know, when you're running a 5K, a 10K, half marathon, you need to be focused on your body, and you need to be tuned in, and that's association. And, you know, that's what a lot of the elite runners use. They are constantly in tune with their body, understanding, like, self-analysis.
Yes.
So how are my legs feeling? Can I maintain this pace? How's my breathing rate? How's my arm carriage? Is my head held high enough? Are my hips pulled forward? You know, all these little things that, as ultra runners, 80 miles into a 100-mile race, you just want to, I don't care about my form. I just want to keep moving.
Even if you start limping, you know. I think we lost him again.
Moving forward.
Let me see. I mean, our connection's good, right?
I think so.
He'll come back.
Forward.
Yeah, I think we lost you again. If you can hear us. The screen share.
All right. Nick.
Hello?
Yep, we hear you. He was on for so long. I wish he would. I don't know what changed. I mean, you could add the two recordings together, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If it ends up ending.
Okay.
There we go.
I don't know what happened, but I turned it all off and started again.
You're good. You're good. No problem.
But
Sorry,
guys, if you can tell, I'm sitting in my closet.
Yeah.
So this is something that turned out from the whole me having COVID, is that I found out that my closet works better as a studio because of all the clothes sitting around for, you know, just
sound insulation.
Sound insulation, yeah. The sound just gets absorbed and it just sounds a little better. Yeah. So most of my videos, at least the talking portion, the A-roll is going to be filmed inside.
I like it. I like it. I like the style too.
Yeah, you know, it's my favorite dress right next to
me. Quick question about and to go back to cross training too. So I saw one of your videos that you is your wife that is involved in ballet?
Yeah, she is a ballet dancer.
So what was the inspiration for trying it with her? Just to see if that helps with better footwork, or what's the?
She's always been into it, like dancing, and let's see, she just started a couple of years ago. But what was her inspiration? I think she's just always wanted to do it, and now was the time. Yeah. But I tell you what, I've already said she's the strongest person I know.
Yeah.
Ballet dancers are the most incredible athletes, and seeing what she goes through, and like her muscles are just incredible from doing these ballet activities. Wow. Like I cannot keep up with the stuff that she does.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you ever actually do something like that, like ballet for runners, because it kicks your butt.
I was watching a little bit of your video and like the extensions on your legs and stuff. I'm sure it's got to be like a form of stretching or like isometric and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's it. It's as runners, we're not very flexible. Like we have to stretch, but you know, when you get back from a run, at least for me,
Uh-oh. Let's see.
there are other things I want to do. But yeah, her flexibility has gone through the roof. So we stretch together a couple times a week.
We lost
You
you
know,
for a little
I
bit there.
months ago.
You good?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's still fresh in my mind. Oh, we lost you for a little bit.
No, let me guess.
Yeah, you're good now.
All right.
Sorry
Yeah.
about
Anyway.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. It says my Wi-Fi's full. Nah, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, the stretching, her flexibility has gone through the roof.
Mhm.
Mine is just kind of maintaining. You know, I do what I can. Do what I can when I can.
Are you involved in yoga or anything like that, or?
Well, yeah, we did like a 10-minute yoga session before I came on with you
Oh,
guys.
cool.
So yeah, we've been starting doing that together, just following an app, you know, like some programs. That's hard. I mean, that's no joke.
Another type of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You think it's just like easy stretching, but you know, I break a sweat doing yoga.
Hell yeah. Oh my goodness. I've done Bikram a couple of times and hot yoga, but
Yep.
it's just, I mean, you think you're just going to go in, obviously you think you're going to go in there and just stretch it out, and no, you're in there and you're suffering. It's a 100-degree room and you're trying to get in positions that like are impossible for me because I'm not a flexible person at all. And I see,
Yeah.
women twice my age and men twice my age, and they're just doing it with ease,
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get that flexibility to be able to do yoga as the pros do it, as the yogis. You know, I am certainly not there. I don't even like to look at myself when I'm doing it because it's not pretty.
That's funny. Oh man. Oh, well, before we head out or anything, I want to ask you a little bit about like speed work wise and
Yeah.
what you do for that. How you go back and forth on your easy days to speed work training.
Okay, so now I don't do a lot of speed work. I'll do short pickups, I'll do strides, and strides are just short bursts towards the end of your run, towards the end of your easy run, and that just gets your legs turning over a little faster because you can get stuck slow, so to speak, when you're just going out for the mile. So yeah, I'll do some 30-second strides, you know, 6, 7, 8, a couple of times a week. Now, when I'm marathon training, I will actually get out there and specifically do tempo efforts. So a tempo effort is about the speed you could run for an hour. So I'll get out there and I'll warm up for a couple miles, do a couple miles at tempo, and then easy couple miles at the end. Sometimes I'll take it to the track. Sometimes I'll just use my watch to measure out 400, 800, 1 kilometer repeats. But I haven't been doing that because I know my body, and I know that if I put in that speed work, I'm on the edge of injury. So if I've got nothing that I'm working towards, I'm not going to risk my health just to get faster when I don't need that speed right now.
You're maintaining your running.
Yeah,
cardio.
I'm trying to keep a solid base. So when it comes time to build up, I can lower my mileage a little and just raise the intensity.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, I'm hoping that'll come towards the end of the year.
Yeah. We were training speed work a little bit back and forth, training for the ultra, and we would do like, timed sprints or during our runs. Like if you were going to go for, what was it, like a 6 or 8, like maybe I would try to put in maybe like a minute's worth of like sprinting and then resting for a second, slowing down, and then maybe another sprint for like a little bit longer, and kind of do sets of that throughout the run.
Yeah, and that's great. And there's a place for it. You might hear a lot of people saying that, there's no need for it if you're an ultra runner. I totally disagree. I think doing some level of speed work is going to make you a better runner because it increases your running efficiency, makes your form better. It just translates to everything, rather, not just pure speed, but also speed.
Yes.
So.
It's good. It's good to expand like your running capabilities like that. I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think it's good to stick with one type of training either. You should try to like explore a little bit and try different things.
Yeah, mixing it up, it'll make you a better runner.
Great.
Just take it easy. Don't do too much speed work, because the thing about speed work, it can be addictive, because you will get faster, and then you'll start seeing these gains. And there is nothing like HIIT training to make you lose weight. If you're already at your current weight, you'll get cut. Like your abs will start popping out. You'll start seeing veins, and you start looking really good and really athletic. And you're like, I want to keep doing this and working hard. But you do too much, that's where all the injuries come. Have you heard of the terrible twos?
I have not.
Too much, too soon, too fast. Avoid the terrible twos.
I like that.
And, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, very nice. Well, do you have anything else planned for the future? Any races coming up that you have your eye on? Maybe next year?
What? I was kind of thinking about Daytona, and I know that I know Ryan mentioned it in his podcast, and I haven't registered, but it's been on the back of my mind to do another 100-miler. And Daytona just seems fun. It's a well-organized race. Dave puts on a good race, and it's self-supported, or you can do it self-supported. So that sounds good for me. I think they even bus you so it starts in Jacksonville, goes down to Daytona. And they actually bus you from Daytona up to Jacksonville for the start of the race.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about moving a car or all that nonsense that comes with point-to-point races.
I like that. Yeah.
In that bus drive up, you see how far you're running.
Yeah.
You get to map out the terrain a little bit.
Exactly. Well, it's a road ultra. I think there's a good portion on the beach. But most of it is on the road, like right down A1A on the beach.
You could pass by. That's going to be where I'm going to be crying. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That looks like a good spot to curl up and, cry or go to sleep.
Very fun. Well, last question, because we started this podcast really to like kind of and we actually started getting more kids our age involved with it. I know our friend Herman Torres, he ended up we've kind of convinced them to try to run a little bit more, try to get into doing maybe an ultra soon. And that's what our idea was for this podcast, is to try to like convince other people to start doing this type not this type of running, but just running in general. And if you were going to convince somebody to like start this sport, what would be like some persuasive arguments to do this?
Well, it's life-changing. It's life-changing, and you get so much more from it than just running. So I mentioned that my whole school career, so I was in school for years, doing it slowly while I was working as well. But like my running actually made my schoolwork easier, just being able to commit to it and know that hard work pays off. It teaches you that, I guess ultimately it does teach you the life lesson that hard work pays off. That consistency is key. And it's not always easy, and it doesn't have to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But the hard work really does pay off. So yeah, it's certainly not easy in the beginning. And if you guys ever take a break and come back, whether it's injury or, something, you start a family, something like that, it's tough getting back. But if you stick with it, it does. I don't want to say it ever gets easier, but you learn how to deal with it better.
Yes.
So, there are plenty of times that I go out and it's still a difficult run at an easy pace. But listen, I know my whole day is going to be better because of it. Yeah. So stick with it. Consistency is the secret sauce of running. And it'll change your life.
Thank you very much. I think everybody will. I know we related to that, obviously. I mean, it never gets easier, like you said, but you do tolerate a little bit more. And that's what I think that's another parallel to life. The more that you do something hard, you're going to understand that there's going to be these trials and tribulations that come out of it, but you're going to be overcoming adversity. So that's a good example.
Yeah, man.
Well,
do you want to say where people can find you, like your YouTube channel, Instagram?
We're gonna have to do some editing.
Bertrand Running, and you'll find me on Instagram at Matt_B_running.
Could you go ahead and say that one more time? Yeah, we cut out again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/MattBertrandRunning, and I'm on Instagram at Matt_B_running.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for your time, guys. Thanks for having me on your channel.
Yeah, no problem. We'll be sure to check out your videos, man. More of your videos soon.
All right.
Can't wait.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
fellas. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like what you guys are doing. I've been through, several of your podcasts on iTunes, so it's you guys are doing well with this whole thing. It's fun to listen to. It doesn't get, it doesn't get old. There's some interviewers out there that just, you know how it is.
Yeah. They get a little too
You're kind of like, yeah. But yeah, the people you've had on, the stuff you've talked about has been really good.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we like your stuff too. It's nice. It's a good.
Yeah.
I like you videotaping like the Everglades 50. It kind of gives everybody like an idea of what it's about,
Yeah. The race videos are definitely that's like the good stuff. Everything else is just filler. The race videos, I love the race videos.
Man, a lot of good work, man. Well, thank you, Matt, again. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
See ya.